We welcome you back to another episode of Tornado Talk here on Monday, November 10th. It's a chilly evening here in Brevard, North Carolina, but hopefully you are warm where you are watching or listening. We do appreciate it. This event, as is every Tornado Talk and every home athletic event, stream live here on YouTube, free for your enjoyment. So thanks for tuning in. And as always, tune in to the rest of the Tornado Athletics as we go throughout the fall and into the winter. So before we get started tonight, we'd like to thank our corporate sponsors, Bojangles, BSN Sports, Comporium, Earthling Coffee, Hampton by Hilton, Jets Pizza, UNC Health Party, Pepsi, Pinnacle Financial Partners, Platt, Prolific People, Suburban Propane, Subway, and Zaxby's. So thank you again to all our corporate sponsors. We appreciate all the partnerships we have and the ones that we continue to add throughout the season. So thanks again to all our corporate sponsors. Before we get started with our guests tonight, I want to put a cap on last week, and what a week it was. Women's soccer earned its first ever USA South Conference championship in a thrilling win in penalty kicks over Southern Virginia on Saturday, punching a ticket to the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that ad nauseum tonight. Looking forward to that. Men's basketball got off to a great start here inside Boshamer Gymnasium, a 93-72 win over Oglethorpe. That was a really fun one inside the Bosch. Looking forward to a good basketball season as we get underway. Football bounced back on the road in a dominant 47-20 win over Methodist, and volleyball battled in 5 sets with Meredith, but eventually fell to the Avenging Angels. So that's a week in review. And without further ado, we'll welcome in our first guest tonight. It's Kinley Mosley and Lily T. Girls, how we doing?
Hi, good.
Well, congratulations on a spectacular effort on Saturday afternoon to defeat Southern Virginia in penalty kicks to secure the USA South postseason crown. How exciting.
Thank you so much.
History. First and foremost, how does it feel to be USA South Conference champions, be heading to the NCAA tournament?
I can't even describe it. It's awesome.
That feels really great.
That's great. So this game is basically the same one that you played in Southern Virginia earlier this year, with just the amounts of shots you faced and the constant pressure, but you found a way to win both of them. What did it take this time around in a 110-minute game, including a penalty shootout?
It took heart, first and foremost, and I think we all had that game, especially the last half and the overtimes. I really can't say much besides we followed the game plan and it took heart and we did it.
So it was a long wait from last year and how the season ended last year against the Southern Virginia team to this year, and you're able to get it done this time. I mean, what does it mean to you guys to be able to get it done finally here this season against Southern Virginia?
Yeah, I feel like it was a long time coming. I think we've worked really hard to get to that moment, and we've put 110% into that game, and the outcome was what we wanted. So
yeah, I think both teams got better since last season, and it was like a very tough game, but I'm so happy that we were able to do it and proud of us nonetheless. But yeah, I think we deserved it, and I'm ecstatic about it, honestly.
So it was a game full of ups and downs. I mean, you might look at the score and say, oh, it was a scoreless game. You played 2 periods and then you go into 2 overtimes. But it was the most exciting scoreless game I think I've ever watched. I mean, back and forth, just tough defense from you guys and the attack from Southern Virginia. But you had Abby Nunez in goal and you had that defensive back line in a game where the offensive opportunities were pretty limited. How important are they, especially in a game like that, to the success of this team?
You know, our game plan was, we had a game plan to attack and then sit back and, park the bus. That's what we call it. That's when we start to get a little bit tired. And I think we executed that game plan perfectly. Obviously, since the score ended 0-0, it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty, but we did it. And that's all that matters.
So we got through regulation, those 2 overtimes, as I mentioned. You both had a chance to shoot in the penalty kick shootout. Just walk me through the emotions as you're taking that trek from midfield to inside the box. What's running through your head in a situation like that?
I'll let you go for it.
Definitely a lot of emotions and just a little nervous. But I just knew I had my team behind me, supporting me through the whole thing. So by the time I got up there, all the nerves were gone and I just needed to execute. And
yeah, ditto on that. The team, really like missing wasn't a thought in my head because even if I did, like I knew, the team would be right there to support me. But for me, like I already know where the ball is going to go before I go up there, so that's that's where my confidence comes from. You just got to think and you got to know that it's going in the back of the net to chill those nerves. And both of us that happened. So
So talking to Juan Mascara Jr., he mentioned that you guys started prepping for a situation like this a couple weeks ago in practice. How important was it to have that preparation and kind of at least try and simulate what that situation would look like and eventually have it pay off here?
Well, we want to be the heroes for our team. So like those PKs like at practice, they matter, of course. So the pressure is still there at practice because you want to be able to be there for your team. But I think if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'm grateful that we were practicing that.
Lily, you came through with the winner in penalty kicks. You were called upon in a crucial spot after not seeing the field in the regulation and the overtimes. How important is it to always be ready for that moment when you're called upon and step up there and do what you got to do?
Oh, it's so important. But I was only one of 5 PKs taken, and every other girl executed. So just having them do their work and do their job just made my job so much easier.
So this might be a tough question for both of you guys because I'm sure it's a blur at this point. But when the ball hits the back of the net, I remember the moment Lily runs back towards midfield. Everybody, the men's soccer team comes on the field. It was just a mosh pit in there after that game-winning penalty kick. Take me through the emotions. What were you feeling in that moment when the reality finally set in that you guys were conference champions?
That's a moment you can't compare to anything, honestly. Like I'm not an emotional person and tears are running down my face and I got made fun of from my teammates for showing emotion. But like those tears were of course of happiness, but it's just something you can't compare it to.
That moment where you turn around and you see your whole team running at you is something that can never ever be recreated, and I will cherish that forever.
It's what we worked for. So we're very proud of ourselves.
Yeah, just seeing you guys, having you guys come in and do this show and seeing you guys around campus, seeing you guys on the field, you get that sense of family, that you guys are a family. How have you guys meshed as a group, and what's that relationship like to where you guys are just dominant on the field?
I've said this before. I think family is the first step to a successful team, and I absolutely no negative things to say about this team. We're tight, we're a family, and that's something I'm incredibly grateful for. I think it's an amazing group of girls, and I'm so lucky to have been a part of this, and our season's still going on, and I just feel so lucky,
So the selection show was today. You now know your fate. You know where you're going. You're going to Emory University on Saturday to face off with Rhodes and the potential to face off with Belhaven or the host Emory. First off, just what are you looking forward to about competing further into the postseason, getting a chance to continue to prove yourselves on a national stage?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to being able to spend the next week with my team that we've extended to this next week, being able to be at practice every single day with them, just having those extra days, and then being able to travel with them over the weekend, and hoping we can execute whatever plan we come up with this weekend.
This is what we work for all season. This is something that we'll remember for years, tell our kids about. It's truly like a blessing to be even invited to this tournament. So it's surreal, to be honest.
So in the watch show today, you knew you were in, but I don't know if it really said it until you saw your name pop up there on the screen. What was that moment like for you all who worked so hard to get here, so hard throughout the season, just so hard throughout your careers? What was that like for you to see Brevard flash up in the NCAA tournament?
That was we made it. It was I can't describe it any other way. Having our name up there is what we're working for, I said. So it's just awesome.
So you saw the support here tonight on the screen from family members and fans supporting you all. And the atmosphere on Saturday was just out of this world with all the fans in attendance. What has it meant for you all throughout this season to have that constant fan support show up at Ives-Mel Family Field?
Oh, well, it's amazing. I'm just going into a game, and then you look to the side and you see all the people that are there to support you, and it just makes playing the game so much easier and so much more fun.
My family was there, and I saw fellow students there, classmates, and even some professors. Like, that's hard to get, and like I just it's awesome.
So I've asked Kinley this question, and just for consistency's sake, I've asked it just about every time we've had a new athlete on the show. Lily, for you, what does your pregame routine look like when you get there an hour, hour and a half for the game, or however long it is? What is that hour before you step onto the pitch? What does that look like for you? Any superstitions? Any specific music you listen to? Anything like that?
I personally don't have any pregame music that I listen to. I just keep my hairstyle the same. Always wear the pre-wrap that you saw in the video. But I guess that's it because I change my cleats a lot too.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it easy to replicate.
So lastly, I'm sure the last couple of days you focused on recovery and, just getting your body back to where it needs to be after a physical game like that. But what are the next couple of days going to look like for you all in preparation for the end of the week?
It's great to have done what we've done, but now we look in the future. We recover still, like I'm still sore. We're still recovering. But now we look at what's ahead of us, and that's our next goal.
All right, girls. Well, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. Huge congratulations on a very successful conference championship match and well paid off for a great season, and looking forward to what you can do in the NCAAs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. That is Kinley Mosley and Lily Teague of the women's soccer team after a thrilling win over Southern Virginia in the USA South Conference Championship game. We'll keep our women's soccer segment rolling along here by welcoming in head coach Juan Mascaro and associate head coach Juan Mascaro Jr. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Well, doing really well. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Thanks for hopping on tonight. A joyous occasion here after you all are able to take that USA South Conference Championship game. First of all, I think I got to get this out of the way. How proud are you of this team's emotional fortitude and the stick-to-itiveness in a game like that where it's so physical, you're facing so much pressure, and you're able to get it done in the end?
Speechless. I couldn't say much. I think both of us, JJ and I, we couldn't say much after the game. I mean, it's just something that it's just unimaginable, and they did such a great job, and we knew it was going to be difficult. Southern Virginia is a really good team. They're well coached, very organized, and we knew it was going to take a lot of preparation, but mainly, a lot of heart, and the effort they went through is just amazing. So I'm more than proud. If there is any word out there that means more than proud, that's what we are, I think.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, your defense and your offense obviously was on the field for 110 minutes. You had 90 minutes of regulation, 20 minutes of overtime in those two periods, and you did not surrender a goal after facing 24 shots, 8 on goal. Abby Nunez had 7 saves in that contest. How impressive was that to not only do it once against Southern Virginia, but twice to hold that team scoreless and face almost 50 shots altogether? How impressed were you with just the effort from the defense?
I mean, it's amazing, but we've been doing it all year, right? We've given up 4 goals the whole year. So we've given up 4 goals the whole year. We work really hard defensively, and we're just hard to break down. So it's something that we use to our advantage, obviously, but it's just something that we really work at it, and it pays off. And having Abby back there, that when things don't go our way, we know that when she's called to make a save, we feel pretty good that it's going to happen for us. So yeah.
So I was just talking to Kinley, and she described it as parking the bus. When you pull that defense back, you're kind of parking the bus and buckling down defensively. Was there a specific point in the game that you kind of got to and you're like, okay, this is what we need to do? Or was it just kind of a feel for you guys to know when you need to kind of call the dogs off offensively and just hunker down defensively?
I think it was probably with maybe 10 minutes to go in the first half. So about 35 minutes in, we started to get a little more organized defensively, or parking the bus, or a low block, however you want to call it. Um, and I think the whole second half it paid off for us, and then we just kept going. Because we still had a few chances. I thought we could sink one in. We still had a few chances, and yeah. But I would say the whole 10 minutes of the first half, the whole second half, and the whole extra time for sure.
So, Junior, I'll ask this question to you. The atmosphere was raucous on Saturday at Isomo Family Field. First half, I'm sitting right there in the booth. I only heard Southern Virginia fans. They were getting loud. They were getting rowdy. But in the second half, the whole men's soccer team came over there and started making some noise. How special was that atmosphere? How important was that to have the fans backing in a game you knew was going to be so physical?
Yeah, it's definitely very helpful and very encouraging to have the fans. It was probably one of the biggest crowds that I've seen at one of our games, which was, really encouraging to see. And it just helps having, being at home, having your supporters there gives you a little bit of a boost and gives you a little bit more confidence. They call it home field advantage for a reason. So, sometimes the fans are called the 12th man in soccer as well. So it's good to have your supporters to give you that little extra boost, especially a game like this, where, we defended quite a bit. You get tired, you get exhausted. It's not fun to not have the ball. And to be fair, Southern Virginia had the ball more than we do. So sometimes you need the fans encouraging you to give you that little extra boost so that you can put yourself that little bit more to get the job done. So it was a phenomenal crowd. They created a great atmosphere. Definitely an unforgettable moment for me. So I was just really pleased with how the whole afternoon went.
So we talked about this at the Tornado Club event before the basketball game and the penalty kicks and how you went about picking who was going to do that. Was that something you kind of decided in practice, or was it more of like, see who has the legs and see who can put one in the back of the net?
Yeah, you have to consider, right? You have players that are in the game have played 120 minutes. So even though they take good penalty kicks, they may not have the legs to do it, right? But I think our game plan was to practice. We practiced them for like a week and a half before this game, and then we chose the people that took the best ones, that were consistently scoring their PKs, and I think it's just helpful to have like that deep squad where you can pull people that have fresh legs that are ready to step up in a moment like that, right? But yeah, so definitely a combination of each, but we definitely practiced them in preparation for the moment.
So regulation and the 2 overtime periods, and you're heading to a shootout. Both teams went back and forth for a while, if I remember correctly. Abby had a save. I believe they had a save. And nobody, just like the game, nobody pulled away even in that penalty kick shootout until the end when Lily Teague steps up to the ball and nets it for the winner. Lily did not see the field in regulation or overtime, but she came in and delivered that penalty kick goal. How important is it to have girls like Lily who are ready when their name's called, whatever the situation may be?
JJ?
Me again? It's super important. It's a team sport. Everybody has a role. You have to be. We tell them a lot. When your name is called, even if it's just for a short instance like that, you have to be ready, because that could lead to a little bit more later on down the line, right? It was a fantastic moment for Lily. We were super proud of her. She had hit her PKs really well in practice, and we felt, that she could do a good job in that moment. So it's just crucial to have players like that have that, because that is difficult. It's difficult. So you have to have kind of that we call, we were talking about competitive stamina throughout the season. So it was good to see, it's good to see that we have players that have that competitive stamina, and that they're ready to come in and lock in and do their job when they're called upon. So yeah, definitely very proud of her, very proud of the team. And it's just, one more weapon in the arsenal that we have.
So the ball finds the back of the net, and you all are USA South champions for the first time in program history. Walk me through the moments after that. When did reality set in, and when, what were the emotions for you when you found out you're USA South champions?
It hasn't yet. So, but before we go there, talking about the PKs, Lily's PK was obviously, incredible, and that moment is incredible. But Keenley's PK, in my mind, is a harder one because if she misses, we lose. Lily was shooting to win. Kinley was shooting to stay alive. So, man, those moments are tough. Those moments are tough. So, very proud of those two kids for sure. Um, yeah, it's still sinking in. The moment is, it's overwhelming. We've been working for this for a decade. So it's just when it happens, you don't believe it's happening, and it's hard to. It's one of those moments that is hard to describe, but we're still enjoying it, and we'll continue to enjoy it for a few more days.
There you go. There you go. I think it's pretty uncommon across the country that you all get to do what you do together as a father and son. How special is it for you all to be able to experience this together as father and son, have this moment together?
Oh, it's great. When I listen, it's great.
No, it's very special for sure. After we won, after we realized we won, we had a moment where we gave each other a hug, and that moment is very special. It'll probably stay with me for the rest of my life. But it was just a really special moment to get to embrace your dad after achieving a really long-term goal. Because he's been trying to do this for 10 years. I joined 4 years ago. So it's been a long-term goal for us. And it was just a very special moment to just be able to give him that hug, that we did it, type moment. I got a little overwhelmed with my emotions, so I had a little moment. But no, it's a very difficult moment to describe because you're feeling a lot of emotions at the same time. But it was really special to share it with my dad.
There were a couple of tears coming down for both.
Yeah, there were definitely a few tears were shed, but I had to compose myself very quickly so that we could celebrate and enjoy the moment.
That's great, guys. Well, I want to ask too. You mentioned that this was a decade in the making here. This was a process to get to where you're at. But with this group specifically, I want to take you back a little bit. When the streak you're on is unheard of, and you guys have just been so good for now 2 seasons going unbeaten. But talk about when you realized this team was special. When did you realize that this group and the pieces that you had were going to be special and we're going to be able to get this done?
I would say probably 2 or 3 years ago, we knew that we had all the pieces. And what happens is, for this to happen, I say, all the stars have to align. The first thing is, you have to be injury free, right? So you might have all the pieces, and at this level, you can only be so deep, right? So it takes 1 or 2 injuries, to go back to square one, right? So the first one is being injury free, and then you say, well, if they, come back in shape, and we can get everybody on the same page and get the freshmen, to do what they need to do. So I think probably 3 years ago, we knew that we had a chance if all the stars would align, and they did, right? They did. So it's a blessing for us. The men upstairs looking over us for sure. So very, very, very excited.
So lastly, looking forward to the NCAA tournament. You see your name flash up on the screen today. You will be going to Emory University in Atlanta to face off first with Rhodes. And how exciting is it just to be able to play more postseason soccer with this group and show what you guys can do at a national level?
JJ, how excited were you?
Oh no, I was ecstatic. When we drew Rhodes, it's a competitive game. I think we can use this game to show the nation, what our team is made of, and how good this team is and can be. So very excited when I saw Rhodes. I think it gives us a good first taste of what it is to play on a national stage. And yeah, we're gonna prepare this week, and then we're gonna go to Atlanta on Saturday. Put our heads down, work hard, and give them the best game we can.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Again, a huge congratulations. It was just a joy to watch you guys on the field on Saturday and throughout the season. It's been a ton of fun, and thanks for hopping on, and enjoy it and get ready for Rhodes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ryan.
All right, that is head coach of the women's soccer team, Juan Mascaro, and associate head coach Juan Mascaro Jr. after the Tornadoes win in PKs against Southern Virginia on Saturday to secure the USA South Conference Championship. I want to thank you all for commenting and leaving your notes here. I'm glad you could join us tonight. And I want to give a quick shout out to Mateus and Martin Moguel Aguilar for the wonderful work that they've done all season, calling the women's soccer games and the men's soccer games. If you have not listened to them, I recommend you go back and listen to them call the Southern Virginia game. At least go listen to PKs. I mean, the final call was brilliant. I just want to shout those guys out. I'm sure you all know who they are at this point, and just want to give them one more tip of the cap as we wrap up the women's soccer season here at home, at least, as the soccer team prepares for the NCAA tournament. So before our next live guest, we have a pre-recorded segment with head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess, who breaks down the win over Oglethorpe, and we'll play that right now. All right, here with head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess on this episode of Tornado Talk as we break down the season opening win over Oglethorpe, a 93-72 victory over Oglethorpe here at home. Coach, first of all, bird's eye view, what made you happy about that game? What were you impressed with in your performance against a solid Oglethorpe team?
Yeah, several things were great for me to see. Number one, we got some really, really great contributions off our bench. Coming out of our exhibition against Western Carolina, we did not have a lot of production off of our bench. And so that was something that, I was interested to see how that would look moving forward throughout the season. But we got some great contributions off the bench. We had some foul trouble we were working through with some of our starters, and guys' names were called and they were ready to go and ready to contribute, which was great. So that was number one. Number two, offensively, I thought we were very efficient. We were really, really solid. I thought we took really good shots for the most part, took care of the ball really well, had a few loose turnovers as we were trying to close the game out late in the second half that we need to tighten up on a little bit. But all in all, I thought that our offensive efficiency was really good. So shot selection, we scored it well, we shot it well, took care of it pretty well, and got some great contributions off the bench. Those were all things that I was very pleased to see.
So an impressive stat from the matchup, I think, was you all only trailed once, I believe. It was 1-0 at the beginning, and you go on a 6-0 run, and you kind of kept them at arm's length and extended that lead throughout the contest. What impressed you about your team's ability to not only lead the majority of the way, but keep the foot on the gas throughout that second half as well?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, and we've got, experienced guys that are certainly leading that charge, have been through it before. But yeah, up 13 at half. And never let it get closer than 11 the whole way through the second half. So never really let them spurt to get it closer, and kept them at arm's length, and then spread it out a little bit more as the second half went on. So yeah, I mean we've got a very we have an offensive team that can score in some bunches, and so. I think we put a couple spurts on them in both halves, and as long as we can defend a little bit, then we should be able to keep ourselves in most games.
So you mentioned prior to the game the threat that Malachi Dooley was at that point guard position. You saw it throughout the game. I mean, off ball screens, he was very effective getting to the rim and getting to the line too. But you guys kind of limited his productivity in that game. What'd you like defensively in the execution of the game plan to guard a guy like that, a guy that's a double-digit scorer, to kind of hold him at bay and limit his impact on the game?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wasn't real pleased with much of our defensive stuff during the game. I thought we fouled them way too much. Thought we caught a break, honestly, that they didn't make their free throws. They didn't shoot free throws very well, but we put them on the line a lot. I thought our guys were trying. We've got to get a lot of things cleaned up, and that'll start today. We'll have a good film session and practice session, but I didn't think we were great defensively. And again, I think dodged a bullet with how much we put them on the foul line. So, I think our guys played hard, but we've got to be in some better positioning. We've got to play a little less recklessly with our hands. Played hard, but need to play a lot better for sure.
Transitioning to the offense, obviously the highlight of that contest and the win over Oglethorpe, really impressive showing. Your team shot over 51% from the field, hit 16 threes. I think 11 of them came in the first half, really filling it up from outside. You mentioned not shooting the ball well against Western Carolina. I know D1 opponent, all that, but, shots are shots, and they weren't falling against Western Carolina. How much of a relief or how impressed were you with your team able to shoot the ball as well as they did on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we needed it. And you're right. I mean, some of it against Western is the opponent. I think some of it, too, is certainly legs. I mean, that was our first time out there to play. And I know guys were a little bit winded, as they went on in that game as well. And so perhaps we're in a little bit better shape also in the game against Oglethorpe. A little better conditioning, which helps us shoot the ball better. But, yeah, we needed it. I mean, that was something it's a big part of how we play. We need to shoot the ball well. We don't run a style of play where we just give the ball to somebody and they just go to work and attack the rim and just kind of go one-on-one. I mean, we're going to run a system that's going to get the ball around the rim some, and it's going to get open looks from the arc as well. And so we're going to need to shoot the ball well to be successful. So it was concerning coming out of the Western game how poorly we shot it. But certainly a welcome sight for us to knock that. 11 threes in the first half. I feel like, the 5 threes, I think the 5 threes that we made in the second half all felt like they were very timely threes where we might be gotten a little bit stagnant. Maybe they had chiseled away at gone on a little run of their own, and we'd bang a three to kind of spurt it back out a little bit. So the 5 we hit in the second half seemed like they were all very timely, and we needed them in that moment.
Talking some individual performances, you had 4 double-digit scores with 3 others at 9 or 8 points, whatever it may be, and Jaden Carnes led the way with 16 points. How much of a threat? You talk about the fouls. There was some foul trouble in that game, and you had to take out KK and you had to take out some other guys to kind of give them a breath and let the game play out without the foul trouble mounting up even more. But how much of a threat is it for you guys to have so many different guys that can fill it up and score in high volume and kind of make it a challenge defensively for the other team?
I think it is a big challenge for the other team defensively. I mean, again, it's a style of play that it's going to be hard to key on anybody in any particular action. We don't really run stuff where we give the ball to KK and just count on him to go one-on-one. We're not running Twain off 30 or 40 staggered screens trying to free him from the arc to shoot. I mean, where you could tell a defender, all right, just lock and trail this guy wherever he goes on the floor. That's not how we play. Everybody's going to cut. Everybody's going to touch it. Everybody's going to be able to go back door. Everybody's going to be able to touch it on the arc and have the ability to score it from the perimeter. And then we've got a lot of guys that have shown the ability to do a lot of different things offensively. So I do think it can be very, very challenging for the defense with us because of the versatility that our guys have, provided they're willing to share the ball. What can get us bogged down a little bit is if guys start to feel like they need to hunt shots or hunt their touches, that can be problematic. And, we had 24 assists in the game, which was a phenomenal number for us. Guys shared it really, really well. We've got a team of unselfish guys, and we need that to continue. But if we can continue to run offense at the pace we were running it on Saturday, clean up a few of our kind of careless turnovers, so take care of the ball a little better and continue to share it, then I think, it could be a really big issue for the other team defensively.
So on that note, we've talked a lot about the new guys and how they kind of fit into this unit that has a really good nucleus at its core and kind of how they come into the mix. And I think one big highlight from Saturday, Malachi McLean, 13 points off the bench in 15 minutes of action. What did you see from Malachi, the kind of versatile attack that he brings that encourages you moving forward?
Yeah, he's a very confident player. He's got a lot of confidence in his ability. which is great, and it's well warranted. He's a very talented player. So glad to see him knock down some shots for us. I still think he's trying to learn how and when to be aggressive off the bounce for us. He can do that as well. So still working through that in his mind. But from a shot-making standpoint, he's really, really good. So I was glad the ball found him in some moments where he felt comfortable shooting it and was able to knock those shots down. But yeah, I mean, to have that many points in that many minutes, that's a great luxury to have off the bench for sure.
So in terms of execution, you might have a different read on this than I did, but just watching the offense, it looked crisp. It looks like guys were coming off screens hard and clean, tight around the ball screens, tight around the screens to get a guy open for a shot, a lot of open looks. What'd you like about the execution of the offense with guys that have run it before and guys that know how this thing is supposed to look?
Yeah, I think your assessment is right. I felt like our pace was good, our spacing was good, our angles were good. All of that was really good. And it was a game where we also had to float back and forth between man offense and zone offense. And sometimes that can slow you down as well. I think that's why some teams do that, why Oglethorpe does that, is just try to keep you off balance, keep you out of rhythm. So I thought we did a really good job going back and forth between being kind of stationary in our zone offense, which is on purpose, and then really moving a lot in our man offense, which is certainly on purpose as well. So credit to our guys for being able to do that. But we spend a lot of time offensively. I mean, we're going to need to be good on offense because we spend a lot of time on offense. And so that's going to be kind of what we hang our hat on. We've got a lot of work to do defensively, like I said, but if we can continue to improve defensively, we got a long way to go with that. But if we can improve and then continue to incrementally improve offensively, then yeah, this team can have a pretty high ceiling, I think. So we work a lot on offense. We work a lot on skill development with the ball. So we'll need to be solid on that end, and we were on Saturday.
So you talk about that zone offense, and, I'll brag on myself a little bit. I played a little bit of basketball back in the day. I'm talking like I'm only 24 years old, but the high post in that zone offense is such a key component of it. You got to have a guy that you can trust in the high post because that's the middle of that offense, and that's kind of where things develop out of. And Drayshawn Brown was very good in that role in that zone offense. How important is Drayshawn to this team and what he can do in that zone offense? That's something that I saw that I thought was really impressive from him on Saturday. Just talk a little bit about Drayshawn and his performance.
Yeah, no, Dre did great. He statted really, really well, double figures in rebounds. Was one of the guys with 8 or 9 points, like you said, and then 4 assists. And so it's a great statistical game from him. He had some hustle plays as well around the basket, which was great. Dre can be a great intangible guy for us. I think he's got a really good heart about him. He's a very good athlete. He can play really, really hard. And he's somebody that I think is very, very willing to contribute however is needed. If he's needed to score it, then he's willing and able to go score it. If he's needed on the glass, then he's willing to give that and able to give that. If we need him to let the ball go through him a little bit and free some guys for some other shots, he's willing to do that as well. So a talented player who's willing to do whatever we need him to do for the team to be successful. And I think that was on display on Saturday for sure.
So lastly, I'll end with this, just a preview going forward. I mean, it's still very early and you still, you mentioned all the things you want to see improve. But what do you want to carry over into this midweek matchup with LaGrange to hopefully move to 2-0?
Yeah, some confidence for sure. I think we should be a confident group. We need to approach that the right way. Not necessarily a cockiness or an overconfidence, but a confidence that, okay, we played a very, very good offensive game. We need that to continue. So let's understand why it was that we were successful and not try to get outside of what we did very, very well. And then defensively, as they will see, the big glaring things that we need to get better at. And then a confidence that if we can do these things, that, yeah, we've got a chance to do some pretty cool things. So hopefully it's motivating them to continue to improve and then carry some confidence forward into the game on Wednesday.
All right, Coach. Well, congrats on a great season opener and good luck on Wednesday.
Great. Appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you.
All right, that is head coach of the Tornadoes men's basketball team, Lee Burgess. after the Tornadoes win on Saturday, 93-72 against Oglethorpe inside Boshamer Gymnasium. Again, on Wednesday, 5 p.m., LaGrange comes to town. So now we will round out our show, as we always do, with head coach of the Tornadoes football team, Bill Kyatt. Coach Kyatt, how you doing tonight?
Wonderful. How about yourself, Ryan?
I'm great. Before we get started, I want you to see a comment here. We've got a commenter that wants you to be president of the United States. So I figure you should see that. You got some fans in the chat here tonight. So with that out of the way, I want to congratulate you on a great road win this past week, 47-20 over Methodist. You set the tone early. How important was that, again, on the road to set the tone early and lead from start to finish?
Well, coming off a really devastating loss to Huntington, a 2-score lead late in the game, 11 minutes left. I know the guys were extremely dejected, and to know that really any shot that we had at winning the USA South had evaporated with that loss. To see the guys rally and understand, what they were playing for the remainder of the season. And they practiced extremely well, and they did everything they needed to do to prepare to start off flying against Methodist. And, when we came out there, even though it was a 3-score lead at the halftime, 21-0, it wasn't an impressive 21-0. I mean, it was extremely choppy and sloppy, if you will. I wasn't pleased with the penalty count that we had, and the energy is what had me the most disappointed. It was really, I know it's hard to complain when you're up 3 scores. I mean, it sounds so silly, but it really wasn't our best performance, but it certainly did help propel us in the second half to victory.
So Marvin Pulley started the game with an interception on the first play from scrimmage. The USA South Rookie of the Week, a guy that I believe was a contributor on the Futures team earlier this season. What do you like from Marvin in that play he made? And he also was top of the list in tackles. What do you like from that guy this weekend?
Well, that was some big shoes to fill. So if you think about it, that was Quintrell Bowman, who played on the defense for us every single snap of the entire season. Never was substituted, never came off the field, and we asked him to do a lot of things. Now we go from a man who unfortunately had an injury that will end his season. And so now we needed someone to step up and fill those shoes. And of all players, it's a freshman. It's a freshman that had done extremely well in various scenarios prior to this game, whether that being run off of cards in practice or practice situations or, the Futures program and games. And, he was the right man for the job. I mean, he pays attention in meetings. I don't know what I'm allowed to say about a guy's GPA, but it's as high as it can actually get. So he does very well in the classroom, and all of that translated onto the field. So it wasn't just a situation of being in the right place at the right time. Why was he in the right place at the right time? It's because he understood the game plan. He's very football savvy, high football IQ, just understanding and awareness of where things are happening, why he needs to be where he needs to be. And then when the play was presented, he would make it. A lot of guys can be in a position to make an interception, but they drop the ball. That's half the time while they're probably playing defense. And then there's other guys that are right there to make a tackle, and they can't bring the defender, the offensive player down. So for him to be able to put all those components together and do well, I mean, that was a joy for us to see, because like I said, I mean, the expectations can't be that high to fill the shoes of the previous player who did exceptionally well. So we were just hoping that he would be serviceable and contribute, even though for the future, obviously, we had high hopes. But there it was, game one, and he took to it. We couldn't have been more proud of him.
So on the note of talking about Marvin, I do want to talk a little bit about the Futures program and the benefit that you get of seeing these guys, these young freshmen, against another team. It's one thing to see them in practice, and we've talked a couple of times in private about how guys play in different scenarios and like different situations. But you get to see these younger guys perform against another team in the Futures program. How important is it for you as a coach and for the players to develop with the Futures throughout this year?
Well, it's one of the most valuable pieces you could have as a coach, because, I'll say it time and again, when guys are making plays in practice, I mean, what is really on the line? Sure, the preparation necessary to win the game, but truly what's happening in there, and how can you evaluate their performance without the heart rate at its highest when it comes to the game. And there's something to be said about nerves or anxiety or, all those different classifications of how people feel when they're thrust into a situation with all eyes on them. People are staring at them. And if you make a mistake, you will be identified for that error. So, the first thing you have to be able to do is actually perform in practice. And if you can do that, then you slowly try to figure out how to work away. But there's no better way to grow as a football player than to be participating in a game, which is the whole reason for the Futures Games. And then you can see how that individual reacts in clutch situations, because, 1st and 10 in the middle of first quarter, no score in the game. I mean, that scenario is probably a little different than 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line, and you're up 4 and you got to prevent them from getting in the end zone and force a field goal, or don't stop them on 4, whatever. I mean, those are different scenarios, and you won't really know how someone will perform in that situation until you get to see that. So that's really the importance of those games in the futures, because if those games are going on in the elders, then the opportunities for a USA South championship diminish with the more errors that surface on the field.
So I was writing the recap. I was helping Joseph out over the weekend. We had a very busy weekend here at Brevard College and elsewhere, and I saw something that caught my eye. Jeremiah Lane, another 50-yard punt return touchdown. And so, wow, that's 3 straight weeks with a special teams touchdown. Then I kept scrolling. I had to double take because he had another kick return touchdown. And the guy is just unbelievable in the return game. How dynamic is he? We've talked about him a couple of times. So, they might as well just start kicking away from him, because he's a guy that can really hurt you in the kick return and punt return game. How special has it been to see him develop into that role?
Well, it's really been great. I've read an article from back in August in the Augusta paper, and they interviewed Jeremiah and all of the things that he was looking to accomplish this year. And he set goals for himself, and he has done everything that he needed to do to prepare himself to achieve those goals. And now it is playing out on the field. So first of all, teams talk all the time about scoring going into the half and then scoring coming out of the half. Well, it was Jeremiah Lane's punt return going into the half that gave us the 21-point lead. And then coming out of the half, that was the kickoff to start the second half that he returned again for a touchdown. So, he deserves all of the accolades that he's receiving for what he's doing. He deserves to get into the end zone for everything that he puts into it, because he really is a high-class player. When I mentioned earlier about a football IQ and awareness, I mean, he has the best of all of that. I mean, he really understands how to set up blocks. He understands the flow of the opponent trying to tackle him. And then on top of it, he has what we call like a shake and a wiggle, where he can come to almost a complete stop and then start right back up and get back to full speed and outrun people when other guys never stopped running. And then, the one thing that can't be forgotten in all of this is there are 10 other people out on the field. And I'll tell you what, our special teams coordinator, Matt Helton, he really has his crew, who he calls the Bad Boys, kind of sort of Detroit Pistons name from, but maybe. But anyway, he has these special teams guys revved up every week, and they come with more juice than you could ever see, because they know that they have a man in Jeremiah Lane that at any moment could take that ball to the end zone. And when you have somebody like that, it elevates your game to want to block for him, to give him that opportunity. And, at first there was a flag actually on the field on the return for the touchdown on the kickoff to start the second half. And it looked like it should have been a holding call, like from where the flag was. Oh, it was a holding. All right. It was just a holding on the opponent. So the actual kickoff team took our guy down. So there was a discussion. We weren't sure if we really scored. We thought we hadn't. And I'll tell you what, all the guys were behind me on the bench, and they absolutely erupted when they realized, yes, that was his second touchdown in the game, and they were able to spring him for that touchdown. So even though it's Jeremiah Lane that gets, his name in the lights and in the paper and online and all of that, don't forget the 10 guys that are always on the field, whether it's punt return or kick return, to help guide him to the end zone.
We talked about a freshman on the defensive side of the ball, but another freshman led you in rushing yards. Nehemiah Floyd, 9 carries for 77 yards. He's a new guy that enters this running back room from the Futures team as well. Describe his running style a little bit and what he brings to the table as a back.
All right, so Nehemiah's fantastic. He's a young man that will always have a smile on his face. I tell my players all the time, the number one reason you should be playing football is because it's fun. It's fun for you. You enjoy it. It brings joy to you, happiness. Like, that is why you should be playing. And I can certainly tell you that is why he plays. So every time I see him, he's got a smile on his face. He shakes my hand. He says, "How you doing today, coach?" And he's just so thrilled to be a part of any component of the football program in any way that he can help. No matter what we ask him to do in some sort of service within practice, he's there. And he's just excited about all of it. I mean, everything that goes into being a college football player is important to him. And, he never knew when he may get his chance, because we have put him in several times during practice. He may get the last 1, 2, or 3 reps of each period during practice, or maybe he gets none that particular period. But he would go in and then just wouldn't find his way into the game. Never complained, never moaned, never did anything. And he did always prepare for the moment when he did get in the game. And I tell my players that all the time. You never know when your moment is going to be there, but when it is, you better be ready. When it came, he was ready. What did he run in the game? He was really running plays where we were pulling offensive linemen. So the runs that he was doing extremely well, he had linemen pulling for him, where he had to kind of understand where they were going and who they were going to block, kind of riding the hip, and then understand the flow of the defense. And what he does very, very well is set up blocks. So rather than a kind of running back just go zooming downhill or zooming outside to try to do something and make a cut, he's more of the patient runner to let things set up. And then when things open, boom, he'll take off. And that's what he was doing. And he was the leading rusher in the game. I mean, that means he outrushed Billingsley. He outrushed Fauntleroy McDaniel. He outrushed Rayshawn Williams. I mean, that's pretty good competition within his running back room, and he was the leading rusher in the game.
So I want to look forward to this week against North Carolina Wesleyan, and I want to start talking about this senior class. You get to recognize these seniors, and you get to show some love for them. Just talk about this class and what they meant to the program today and tomorrow and into the future.
Well, they've continued the tradition of winning for us. I mean, they have shown what Brevard College football is all about. They've been able to win a lot of games during their time, especially in the USA South. So they racked up a lot of victories. It was unfortunate they never were able to get a USA South title. But what they've done is they've set up the rest of the roster for success. And they've done that by example. They've shown how to go about preparing for a game. They've shown what to do within a game to do everything you can to set yourself up for those victories. And they've taught these guys how to win with class. And then in a loss, understand what to do with those losses and how to learn from them and make sure those mistakes don't surface in the future. So, it's great to have all of these guys because they're not all the same. I mean, we got 15 of them that we're going to be celebrating on Saturday, and they're not robots. They're not all the same thing that offered the same things to other players. So, different players from different positions. You don't necessarily have to say, well, this is a quarterback, so I want to be like him. It could be a quarterback that liked the defensive lineman and the way he approached the game. So there were a lot of different things that they did to help the future of our program, and I'm grateful for every moment shared with them.
So looking at this Wesleyan team, you're looking to end the season on the right foot with a win, but it's a team that's I feel like looking at their schedule at least, very similar, has some very similar results to what you all have. A couple close losses in conference that could have gone either way, and a team just like you guys that could just as easily be in the mix. What do you expect to see out of this team in a game that's sure to be competitive?
Well, I don't expect to see anything differently than I have every time I've gone against this program. The same head coach that has been there since I've been a part of Brevard College, and very methodical in the approach. Just kind of following what the book would dictate, meaning he likes to control the ball, it's better to have the ball in his hands than to have the opponent have it and a chance to score. And you're going to get very few possessions in the game. So when you get a possession offensively, you better score with the ball, because you may only have it 7, 8, 9 times at all to even get a chance to score. And they will run the ball. They will run the ball. They will run the ball until you force them to pass. And every now and then they'll make you think they're going to run the ball, and they'll take a shot down the field. And they have, a great running game with the offensive linemen that understand that, hey, look, we're going to run the ball, but I'm telling you right now, we run it better than you can stop the run. And then once you commit too many and you leave somebody isolated, we're going to take a shot. And if it's a 50-50 ball, we feel like it's really more 80-20 in favor of us, meaning Wesleyan, and that they'll make the play. And then defensively, they're just very sound. Everything looks kind of like the textbook. All the guys are going to be in the right place at the right time. So they're going to make you earn everything that you get. They're not going to be giveaways. So our offense will not just be getting points because somebody's just wide open, uncovered, or doing anything. You're going to have to create that openness on the field. So, that's the big thing. And for us this weekend, we're currently sitting at 2-0 against USA South opponents from the state of North Carolina. So Wesleyan would be the third and final one of the season. And as head coaches, we talked about this battle for the spirit of the Old North State. So it's the battle for the spirit of the Old North, and somebody has to be the best in the state. And right now, sitting at 2-0, that does put us in the driver's seat, and we'd like to, close out the files with a victory.
So you talked about some things on Saturday that you wanted to see better, maybe the energy a little bit, and just the overall, what you have on the sideline there. What are you hoping to see out of your team this weekend as a whole? You mentioned it can be hard to get up after you're not in the running anymore for the USA South, but it seems like this weekend that came as the game came along. And what are you hoping to see this weekend out of your team in the finale of the season?
For the first time all season, I'd love to see a complete game. That's what I'm really looking for. During this season, when we've won games, someone somewhere did something, but not everywhere did everyone do something. And that's kind of what we're looking for, where it's not two of the three phases, meaning offense and special teams, but not defense, or defense and special teams, but not offense, or offense and defense, but not special teams. If everyone on every facet can contribute. Now, that doesn't mean that all 11 players for all 190 clips during the game, no one makes a mistake. I mean, that's unrealistic. But what we're looking for is to play a complete game where you, as an announcer, would say, wow, I didn't see any shortcomings out there. Offense was tremendous. The defense was outstanding. The special team was marvelous. If you can make that kind of comment as an announcer for the game, then we've achieved our goal.
Well, Coach, thanks for hopping on tonight. As always, wrapping up the show with us, and good luck this week.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan.
That is head coach of the Tornadoes, Bill Kyatt, as Brevard prepares to close out its season at home on Saturday at 1 o'clock against North Carolina Wesleyan to wrap up the 2025 campaign. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to basketball this Wednesday against LaGrange at 5 p.m. here at home. And then on Saturday, also women's soccer against Rhodes in the first round of the NCAA tournament in Atlanta, Georgia at Emory University. I want to thank you guys, as always, for hopping on tonight, leaving your comments in the live chat. It's always fun when I get to interact with some of you all and hear your comments. Again, congratulations to the women's soccer program. 2 student athletes had joined us tonight, head coach Juan Mascaro, associate head coach Juan Mascaro Jr., and all the women's soccer players on that fantastic achievement. Looking forward to see what they can do in the NCAA tournament. Again, a busy show tonight. I'm glad you all enjoyed and tuned in this evening. We'll have this show again every Monday outside of a couple occasions getting close to the holidays. We might not have a show on a Monday near Thanksgiving, near Christmas, whatnot, but more times than not, we'll be right here live on YouTube, as are all the Tornado home games streamed live for your enjoyment. I've said it time and time again, in the world of subscriptions and streaming services, I'm so glad that we can bring this to you free of charge. So for now, until Wednesday, we've got LaGrange in men's basketball here at home. I will talk to you then as Brevard looks to move to 2-0 in men's basketball. Looking forward to it and hope to have you join us. So this is it for this episode of Tornado Talk. We'll talk to you next time.